Gentlemen, we're going to finally put it to rest in terms of this argument that, oh, PJ sold out everything. And one of the things that they said PJ sold was Air Jamaica. Well, we got the documentation, ladies and gentlemen. We got the documentation. Documentation rules the nation, all right? So don't let the labor right them trick, about this particular thing. Anybody said that PJ sold Air Jamaica, it's a lie from the pits of hell. Alright? Alright? Just a bold-faced lie. Alright? Air Jamaica sold. When was this? March 31, 2018. Hold up. Let me go to the JIS thing first, because I'll be able to read it aloud and without any disturbance. This says, Statement to Parliament by Honorable Bruce Golding, Prime Minister, on privatization of Air Jamaica. Right? This is one document. Let's get to this. Read aloud. Where's the option? Oh, there it is.
Content. Speeches. Shortly after taking office, the government announced the decision to divest Air Jamaica. This decision was consistent with a commitment stated in our manifesto as part of necessary measures to relieve the taxpayers of the burden of loss-making state-owned enterprises that were not considered part of the core functions of government. Since its inception in 1969, Air Jamaica has accumulated losses of over $1.4 billion or 126 billion Jamaican dollars. In the last 3 years alone, it has incurred losses of $337 million or 31 billion Jamaican dollars. The economic program that is required to put Jamaica in a position to achieve sustained growth, including the containment and ultimate reduction of our huge public debt, does not allow any continued absorption of these losses. In pursuance of this decision, the government established a privatization committee headed by the Honorable Dennis Lawler to oversee the divestment of Air Jamaica. The other members of the committee are Mr. Richard Biles, Mr. Colin Steele, and Mr. Christopher Barry. Mr. Dennis Chung was appointed project manager for the divestment. The government engaged the services of the International Finance Corporation, IFC, which then engaged a group of premier aviation consultants to advise on the divestment process.
Yo, did I just hear Dennis Chung? And what does privatization mean? So at this point, Jamaica owned Air Jamaica, right? What does privatization mean? Privatization. Privatization. What does that mean? Privatization is the process of a government transferring ownership, control, and operations of state-owned assets, services, or industries to private businesses or the private sector. I don't want to hear nothing from no labor rights about the People's National Party or PJ selling Air Jamaica. Bruce Golding, this is the JIS website, Jamaica Information Service. The very first statement is, shortly after taking office, statement up by Parliament by Bruce Golding, Prime Minister, on privatization of Air Jamaica. That's what this document is about. Let's continue to read. Listen, man, stop playing with us. All lies will be exposed. That's all. All lies. All right?
Process. An invitation for expression of interest was issued in April 2008 simultaneously with the launch of the Air Jamaica privatization website, airjamaica.org, which contained detailed information that potential interests would require. 7 companies responded. Of these, 4 were considered to have fulfilled the technical and financial criteria as stated in the published invitation. In October 2008, An 87-page information memorandum was issued providing detailed information on the divestment process and evaluation criteria, Air Jamaica's organizational structure, operations, and financial performance, information on Jamaica's economy and demographics, the aviation market with particular reference to the Jamaican and Caribbean environment, applicable regulatory framework. Two of the four companies, Caribbean Airlines and Indigo Partners, visited Jamaica to conduct due diligence exercises, and these were fully facilitated by the Air Jamaica authorities. At the extended deadline for submission of firm offers, June 30th, 2009, two bids were received from Caribbean Airlines and Indigo Partners. These were evaluated against the stated criteria and scored under four headings: probability of transaction completion requirement for ongoing GoJ support, financial outcome to GoJ proposed business model. On conclusion of the evaluation, Indigo Partners were evaluated as marginally superior to Caribbean Airlines. Based on these findings, the Cabinet gave approval for negotiations to be entered into with Indigo Partners. These negotiations continued for more than 4 months, but the parties were not able to reach a satisfactory agreement. In November, the decision was taken with the approval of Cabinet to terminate the negotiations and to enter into negotiations with the second-ranked bidder, Caribbean Airlines. These negotiations are well advanced, but have not yet been concluded. A non-binding letter of intent has been signed with a target date for completion by March 31st, 2010. In view of a confidentiality agreement between the two parties, a standard requirement in such negotiations similar to that which existed with Indigo Partners, it is not possible to disclose at this time the details of the negotiations, the terms that have already been agreed and those that remain outstanding. Any agreement that may be arrived at will be subject to the approval of the Cabinet. Caribbean Airlines was established in 2007 following the closure of BWA, which, like Air Jamaica, had accumulated huge losses. It is capitalized by the government of Trinidad and Tobago and operates a fleet of 7 Boeing and 5 DHC 8-300- aircraft flying to 13 destinations from its Port of Spain hub. In its first year of
Well, this confirms what Mr. Lonesome said about Trinidad and Bruce Golding and selling it to them. Yep, this was the starting process, ladies and gentlemen. Let's continue.
of operation, it sustained a loss of $117,000. It recorded a profit of $34 million in 2008. It benefits from a preferential fuel price provided by the Trinidadian government, given its position as an oil producer. It operates with a much leaner structure than its predecessor, BWA, employing less than 700 persons compared to the 1,700 previously employed by BWA. Air Jamaica, on the other hand, currently operates 8 Airbus aircraft flying to 13 destinations from Kingston and Montego Bay. In 2007, Air Jamaica employed 2,585 persons. Despite staff reductions that have helped to reduce its losses, its current staff complement is 1,607. Caribbean Airlines is seeking to expand its regional operations, and there is the possibility that it will eventually merge with other regional airlines to become a truly regional carrier for the Caribbean. It is the stated intention of the government of Trinidad and Tobago that it will conduct a public share offer, and if the current negotiations are successful, we would insist that Jamaicans be given the opportunity to subscribe.
Now, one of the things I want to highlight, right? One, the laborites say that, the JLP run the economy the best. So why they couldn't run Jamaica, Air Jamaica? Jamaica was having losses. Say, for instance, the previous administration was also having losses. It would mean that since you guys are the economic experts, you would be able to have some profit. you'd be able to turn things around, yes? Because you guys are the economic genius. You know how to run the economy great. So you would know how to manage Air Jamaica for them to have a profit. Oh, that reminds me. You guys have been running the country for 10 years now into the so-called third term, but JUTC has not seen any profit. I wonder why. Is it because you guys are the economic geniuses that you claim to be? Sylvia, Velma, Randall, Sassity. These are questions that need to be answered. Or maybe it's rhetorical. They are not the economic gurus that they claim to be. Hell no! To the no. On the contra. Let's continue. On the contra, ladies and gentlemen.
Subscribe. The Jamaica Airline Pilots Association, JALPA, has submitted a proposal to the government to acquire Air Jamaica. I have met with the association's representatives to discuss its proposal. I queried why it had not submitted its proposal at the time when the international call for expression of interest was issued. Its representatives advised that their understanding was that a prospective bidder would have to be prepared to assume Air Jamaica's liabilities. No such condition was stated in the invitation. Indeed, in the information memorandum, it was stated clearly that the government is not averse to forgive or assume in full the GOJ guaranteed debt currently owed by Air Jamaica. I have explained to JALPA that under the divestment procedures, the negotiations with Indigo partners having been terminated, the government is obliged to enter into negotiations with the next-ranked bidder, Caribbean Airlines. Indeed, in a response to the Air Jamaica staff dated February 1st, the Contractor General stated, 1. The OSG has been monitoring the Air Jamaica divestment process from as early as 2008 April. 2. Based upon written representations which have been made to the OCG by the Government of Jamaica, GJ, during the course of the referenced monitoring process, the OCG is of the understanding that the GOJ has been negotiating with certain companies which submitted formal bids within a specified deadline in response to the requirements of what was a competitive tender process. 3. The information memorandum, tender document, which governs the referenced divestment process has expressed a stipulated tender submission deadline date of June 24, 2009. 4. The referenced information memorandum was authored by the GOJ. As such, the OSG has been monitoring the divestment process for conformance with the documented rules, pursuant to the provisions which are contained in Section 4 of the Contractor General Act. The rules are, therefore, not prescribed by the OCG. 5. Given the aforementioned, we must respectfully advise you that the concerns which you have raised in your letter to the OCG are best dealt with by the GOJ, which has developed the information memorandum, conducted the evaluation of the eligible bidders, and which is also responsible for the negotiation process leading up to the eventual divestment of Air Jamaica. In light of the foregoing, it would not be appropriate for me to make any comments on the credibility or viability of JALPA's proposal. It is in order, however, for me to make the following general observations. 1. The extensive analyses of Air Jamaica's operations conducted by reputable and experienced consultants on behalf of the Privatization Committee, as well as the evaluation conducted by both Indigo Partners and Caribbean Airlines, points to the unlikelihood that Air Jamaica, given the size of its current and potential operations, can be profitable as a standalone airline. Its overheads, even after rationalization, are too great and its most optimistic projected revenues too small to assure a profit. 2. Given Jamaica's open skies obligations and the ferocity of ever-increasing competition from low-cost carriers, Air Jamaica's dominance on its traditional routes will continue to be severely threatened and undermined. 3. The interest of the government is not only to terminate the drain on the public purse, but to ensure adequate and sustained airlift on those routes that are required by Jamaican travelers, the Jamaican diaspora, and the tourist industry. The government must, therefore, have reason to be confident that the successor to Air Jamaica will be in a position to adequately maintain these routes, since under no condition can there be any recourse in the future to public funds to support its operations. For free of all its debts which the government will have to absorb, Air Jamaica's routes on which it carried 1.1 million passengers last year have a value which, in any privatization, must be treated as an asset and secured for the benefit of the people of Jamaica. We cannot be expected to assume all the debts and give away the rest for free. The government understands the emotions that are aroused in determining the future of Air Jamaica. All of us share the pride that those colorful airplanes evoke whether we are seated in one of them or watching from the ground as they soar to their wuthering heights. But that pride has come at a huge cost. $126 billion over the last 40 years, $31 billion over the last 3 years. And it has helped to deprive us of the pride we should have been able to have in seeing our children go to good schools and the sick to good health facilities. We have to get our priorities right.
So wait a minute. So you telling me that the argument from Bruce Golding is that, listen, 126 billion was taken from us in managing this asset, and in over 40 years, and 31 billion in over the last 3 years. It is getting too expensive, because our children needs to go to good school, and the sick need good facilities. What? Wait a minute. You telling me that was his argument? So hold on. The article almost done. Wait a minute. Let me calm down. Let me just play the rest of this.
Right? The government does not intend, because it will not be able, to provide any financial support to Air Jamaica beyond this financial year, which ends in March. Time is, therefore, of immense essence. I will report to the House in due course on the outcome of the current negotiations with Caribbean Airlines.
So, again, Bruce Golding, the former leader of the Jamaica Labour Party, which had to resign under the debacle of Dodos Coke, that was extradited by the United States, that they paid $50,000 for his lawyer fees. The government of Jamaica, under Bruce Golding, said that this particular asset was becoming a liability because of the billions of dollars being lost. 31 billion in the last 3 years, 40 billion in 126 billion in over 40 years. And the money would be best spent in helping, children to go to good school and people to have good health facilities. We need to get our priorities right. My question is, did Andrew Ones and what I brother name Christopher Tufton, did Christopher Tufton and Andrew Ones get the memo? Bruce Golding, did Christopher Tufton and Andrew Ones get the memo? Yeah? Because there's trillions of dollars that is unaccounted for according to the Auditor General, which we don't know where the money go. We don't know where the money went. And that money could be used to, one, have our kids go to good school so they can have a hot meal, so they can go to school on time and go to school every day, to facilitate some level of assisted education in terms of meals like the RIDE program and the other program that the PMP suggested. The RIDE program and the EASE program. And then you talk about health. Christopher Tufton, you projected Cornwall Regional Hospital at 9 billion, or 2 billion at first, reached to 9, now they are 20 billion dollars. Did he get the memo? And we still don't have good healthcare facilities that has the right amount of equipment, to the point where the travel advisory for Canada has gone haywire about Jamaica. Did you guys know that the travel advisory for Canada is not good? It's not good for Jamaica right now. The same health issues. And also, did you know that, how is the JLP the government that is of good governance for the reputation of Jamaica? Whether it be healthcare, I'm not talking about this present government right now. Whether it be healthcare, trash, education, trash. I'm talking about results now. I'm talking about the people actually leaving, CP3, what's up? The people actually leaving out of school with good education, being literate, being able to read. Trash! We have lost ground in the education system. If you're talking about agriculture, trash. Our import bill has doubled. We are not producing anything. So with education, health, and food security is through the window. Let's not talk about the roads, ladies and gentlemen, please. That is a hellbound situation within itself. So you telling me that Bruce Golding excuse for selling air Jamaica? You better them did keep it. At least we would still have the pride to know that we own our own Air Jamaica. But I don't see this 126 billion going into health and going into having children going to better schools. You know why? The Jamaica Labour Party has not built a school in 10 years. We are in the third term. They have not built a school, ladies and gentlemen. So I guess Bruce Golding memoir of the priorities that the JLP needs to focus on, it never reached Christopher Tufton and Andrew Wallace. It never reached them people. No, it never reached them. Let's go to this article. We cannot believe this. This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. Air Jamaica sold March 31st, 2018. Let's see how this goes. Let's see how this goes, right?
Canada is looking for skilled immigrants. Personal assessment of your best Canadian visa option based on your profile. Sponsored read next story. In 1994, the Gordon Butch Stewart-led Air Jamaica Acquisition Group took a majority stake in the operation of Air Jamaica in the wake of continued financial losses the ailing government carrier had been racking up. The privatization of the Lovebird led to a revitalization program which involved fleet renewal, the introduction of service to new destinations, and the expansion of onboard amenities. However, in 2004, severe financial losses saw Stewart, who is also chairman of the Jamaica Observer, and his team of investors signing over their 75% ownership share back to the government, bringing the carrier back under full state ownership after 10 years. But 3 years after the government reacquired the airline, the carrier had racked up some $12.9 billion in debt and continued on a downward slide until it was divested to the Trinidad-owned Caribbean Airlines Limited (CAL) in 2011.
Yeah, Mr. Wayne Lonesome was right, ladies and gentlemen. Shane Wagwan Shane, Mr. Wayne Lonesome was right. Bruce Golding is the one that sold Air Jamaica. 2011. Trinidad owned Caribbean Airlines. Right? In 2009, they started the conversation and the bidding process. In 2009. But in 2011, it was sold. Alright? It was sold. So, I don't think I need to go over all of this document. No, I do not. Alright? So, that is that for that. Alright? And anybody that wants those particular links for the Observer and the JIS, I'm more than happy to send you the links so you can fact check. Listen, I see him so it go, bad bro, you're on point. Yeah, somebody just sent me the article a while ago. This is literally, I'm reading from the article, I'm reading from the JIS, the Jamaica Information Service, that them says the most credible website, that Andrew Owen said, that alone we must read. Well, there it is. And also the Observer. You see me? So, hey, it is what it is. So we're going to move on. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comment section. Please like, share, and subscribe. Get this video up to 3,000 likes. All right.